America's arrogance and Japan's fury are on a collision course that could shatter the global economy. Washington's reckless tariffs on Japanese auto parts are being celebrated by U.S. trade hawks as patriotic protectionism. Yet they are little more than economic vandalism dressed up as nationalism. Consumers are already bleeding at the checkout lines, but the political elite in Washington continues to play with fire, oblivious to the chaos brewing in foreign capitals. On the other side of the Pacific, Japan's restrained politeness has given way to raw indignation. Behind closed doors in Tokyo, conversations have turned from diplomacy to vengeance, and that vengeance carries a $1.1 trillion price tag. For decades, Japan tolerated America's hypocrisy preaching free markets while practicing selective protectionism, but those days are over. Japanese Finance Minister Shunichi Suzuki has openly referred to Washington's policies as economic warfare, and he's not bluffing. Selling off billions of dollars in U.S. Treasuries is not a threat. It's already underway. Yet the White House, with President Joe Biden and his cabinet of cautious optimists, continues to believe that half-hearted diplomacy can defuse a bomb that's already ticking. If they're wrong, and it looks like they are, every American retirement account, mortgage, and grocery bill will feel the impact. The sheer stupidity of the U.S. approach is matched only by Japan's determination to escalate. But make no mistake, Tokyo's willingness to set fire to its holdings is not about financial suicide. It's about teaching Washington a lesson that will reverberate through history. The Japanese government is leveraging its financial power to exact retribution, and investors across the globe are watching with bated breath. Wall Street analysts who once dismissed these threats as posturing are now issuing grim warnings that this could be a repeat of the 2008 crisis, only worse, because this time the fuse is global, and the detonation will not spare anyone. If you think this is another minor trade dispute, think again. This is a seismic confrontation between two giants, each too proud to blink, each too reckless to yield. Both sides are charging forward, blind to the cliff edge that looms ever closer. As the stakes rise and tempers flare, the question isn't whether there will be fallout, it's how catastrophic that fallout will be. Stay with us till the end. Hello and welcome back to Innovative Check YouTube channel, where we delve into the innovative and transformative projects changing our world. If you're new to the channel and enjoy learning about innovation stories around the world, you've come to the right place. Please subscribe, like, and comment to help boost our videos on YouTube. While Americans wake up each morning to news of rising prices on Japanese cars, what they may not fully grasp is the magnitude of financial tremors building behind closed doors. A trade war once sparked by protective ambitions has morphed into a looming global crisis. The U.S. tariffs on Japanese automobile parts, particularly in the electric vehicle sector, have not only raised prices on brands like Toyota, Honda, and Nissan, but have stripped these companies of their competitive advantage in the U.S. market. According to data released by the Japan Automobile Manufacturers Association, Japanese car sales in the U.S. have fallen by 7% in just the first quarter of 2025. This would be alarming on its own. But the cascade effect now threatens to destabilize much more than car sales. Ford and General Motors are enjoying a momentary surge. Protected by U.S. policies that many see as short-sighted, consumers are paying higher prices, their purchasing power eroded, while Japanese automakers face declining profits and rising production costs. But Japan is not merely offering harsh words in response. It is wielding its financial clout in a manner that has left Washington deeply uneasy. Japan holds over $1.1 trillion in U.S. Treasury bonds, making it the second largest creditor to the U.S., second only to China. In February 2025 alone, Japan sold $30 billion worth of these bonds. The impact was swift. The U.S. dollar weakened, interest rates surged, and financial pressure mounted on an administration already grappling with inflation and public discontent. Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen has held emergency meetings with Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, attempting to stem the tide of rising interest rates that threaten to choke off economic growth. Yet behind every policy statement is the gnawing fear that Japan might escalate its bond sales, delivering a blow from which the U.S. economy would struggle to recover. The Japanese government has also begun shifting its manufacturing lines out of the U.S., moving production facilities to Mexico and Southeast Asia. Japanese giants like Toyota and Honda are investing billions in Mexican and Vietnamese manufacturing plants, ensuring they can continue to supply vehicles to the U.S. without falling victim to exorbitant tariffs. In response, Federal Reserve officials are quietly acknowledging the growing reluctance among international investors to purchase U.S. bonds, given Japan's strategic withdrawal. Investment banks like J.P. Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs are advising clients to diversify away from U.S. Treasuries, fearing the potential domino effect that could erupt if other nations follow Japan's lead. The ripples extend beyond financial markets. Japan is also contemplating curbing the export of critical technologies to the U.S., notably solid-state batteries, where it holds a decisive technological lead. Should Japan cut off these exports, it would undermine the U.S.'s ambitious electric vehicle targets, a policy championed by President Joe Biden and Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm. Just a quick reminder to hit the like button below. YouTube has been restricting my videos a lot recently because of bots, so your like does help out this video massively in terms of the algorithm in YouTube. At a press conference in Tokyo, Japanese Finance Minister Shunichi Suzuki didn't mince words. He declared that Japan would not tolerate what he termed economic coercion from Washington. Meanwhile, in Washington, President Joe Biden, flanked by Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo and U.S. Trade Representative Katherine Tai, expressed hope for de-escalation, but admitted the situation was precarious. Japan's diversification strategy also includes deepening trade ties with the EU, signing comprehensive agreements to reduce dependence on the volatile U.S. market. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has enthusiastically welcomed Japan's pivot toward Europe, hailing it as a win for multilateralism. The E.U.'s embrace of Japanese automakers, coupled with their own investments in electric vehicle technology, presents a united front against American protectionism. Within Japan, public sentiment supports the government's hardline stance. Polls conducted by NHEIC show that over 68% of Japanese citizens back the government's decision to retaliate, citing national dignity and economic self-preservation. The question on every investor's mind is whether Japan will make good on the ultimate threat, a full-scale dump of its $1.1 trillion in U.S. debt. Economic analysts at the Bank of America and Citigroup warn that if Japan proceeds, it could spark a financial crisis reminiscent of the 2008 meltdown, but with far more global ramifications. The White House's National Economic Council, led by Lael Brainerd, has been holding closed-door meetings daily, discussing potential contingency plans, but few solutions are on the table. Washington's diplomatic overtures are also being rebuffed. Japan's ambassador to the U.S., Koji Tomita, delivered a blunt message to Secretary of State Antony Blinken: reverse the tariffs or face the consequences. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and comment. Meanwhile, the financial markets are reacting with growing anxiety. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has dropped 4% in a week, while the yield on the 10-year Treasury note surged to levels not seen in over a decade. Interest rates are climbing, and consumer confidence is plummeting. In private conversations, senior U.S. officials are expressing grave concerns that Japan's move could encourage other large creditors, including China and Saudi Arabia, to reduce their holdings in U.S. debt, triggering a mass exodus. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Speaker Mike Johnson have urged the Biden administration to reconsider the tariffs. However, with an election looming, political calculations are complicating rational decision-making. Trade hawks within the Republican Party, led by Senator Josh Hawley and Representative Jim Jordan, are doubling down, urging even more aggressive tariffs, dismissing the risks as fear-mongering. At the same time, Japan is leveraging its influence within the EU and the G7 to build an economic coalition against U.S. protectionism. G7 finance ministers are scheduled to meet in Brussels next month, and early reports suggest that Japan, Germany, and France are pushing for a collective rebuke of U.S. trade policies. If successful, this would isolate the U.S. on the global stage, undermining not just its economy but also its geopolitical standing. As American consumers continue to pay more for cars, electronics, and countless imported goods, the political and economic fallout becomes ever more apparent. Unemployment numbers are creeping upward, and manufacturing sectors in Michigan and Ohio are already reporting layoffs. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's assurances that the economy is resilient are beginning to sound hollow to the millions of Americans struggling to cope with rising costs. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome your thoughts and questions on this complex and vital subject. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence. Your subscriptions and likes motivate us to generate more content, so please keep supporting us. Check out this video showing on your screen right now, and I will see you on the other side.